Welcome y'all to Gator Tales here with Chuck and Brad. Today we have Coach Scott Arceneaux, head athletic trainer of Arceneaux High School, here with us today. Coach, we appreciate you taking the time out to get with us and everything. The athletic training facility is a very important and integral part of Arceneaux Gator athletics.
Basically covering all the sports, not just the major ones or just one in particular, but all. We got 28 sports here, 27 sports here at Arceneaux. So the training facilities here are open to all student athletes, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I mean, bowling team, swim team, golf team, you name it. At some point, at least one of them from everyone has come through these doors.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, Coach, thank you again for taking this time. I know right now, beginning of the season, football season, beginning of school, hectic schedule for you right now. So definitely appreciate your time. Let's talk a little bit about yourself. Let's talk about you and your family and your history, and let everybody learn who Scott Arceneaux is.
How you got here?
Yeah.
First of all, thank y'all for this opportunity. I think what y'all guys do to promote Arceneaux High School athletics is it's really cool. You know, and I really thought kind of just where this started and how this has kind of morphed itself. I think it's a really neat thing. And you're out of just kind of a random act of kindness.
Yeah.
That's created this whole avenue, which I think is pretty special. So, my name's Scott Arceneaux, as most people know, that I'm very, very proud to have been at Arceneaux High School as long as I have. Hopefully got a few more years left in me.
Mine's in 8th grade, so I need at least 4 more.
I was going to say the same thing. I need 4 more from you.
Well, I appreciate that. But I started, so just a little bit about myself. I grew up in Rain, Louisiana.
Okay.
I'm one of 8 children.
Oh, wow.
Was really, really blessed to have such a great big family. I've got some great brothers and sisters. My dad was chief of police of our town. He was my grandfather was sheriff. My mom sold insurance. She worked for security, which is based out of Donaldsonville. Athletics was a huge part. My dad and mom were very, very involved in everything athletics for us growing up in our community. My grandfather sponsored the rec baseball program when he was sheriff. My dad coached American Legion baseball. We grew up in athletics. All my brothers and sisters participated. So it was just a way of life. I can still remember being a ball boy on Friday nights. I remember 1978 and 9 coming across the Gramercy Bridge to come play Lutcher in the state championship when Rain played them, and just all those parts. It's pretty neat too to grow up and the coaches that came through Rain. Of course, Louis Cook is still active, but just all those coaches and being involved in that. So this is just all I've kind of known. My older brother, John Craig, he is currently the head not athletic trainer. He's the head athletic director and head football coach at Church Point High School.
Oh, okay.
My younger brother's an athletic trainer, Chad, and he works and he has a company that provides athletic trainers in the Acadiana area. My sister worked for the Hornets at one time. My nieces and nephews have all been active, and I got a nephew playing college baseball right now at Millsaps. Both my brothers played in college, and so it's always been.
So it runs in the blood.
It's been a really, really neat thing for our family. It's kind of the family business. I'm one of 6 athletic trainers in our family.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
So between my brother, my sister-in-law, and that's how I often say that I'm probably not the best athletic trainer even in my family. I got a number of cousins that are athletic trainers, and so it's a really
mind you the best.
Yeah. Man.
So from Rain, I made my way to Independence, Kansas, to go play football at Independence Community College, and that was a short-lived dream. So I was actually there. What's kind of cool is I was actually there the year after they won the national championship.
Okay.
And, I was very ill prepared for what the life of junior college football looked like in the state of Kansas. But, it was a great experience. But that created the other opportunities.
Yeah.
That's right. And so to go 16 hours away and to try to say, hey, look, this is a place I can go and try to play. and go and do that. That was kind of cool. But that created the opportunity for me to end up at Neosho County Community College, where my brother was playing baseball. And a good friend of ours named Eddie Vaughn was the basketball coach. And Coach Vaughn lives here in Baton Rouge now. He coached at Parkview, coached at Walker, but gave us the opportunity. And they had just started an athletic training program at Neosho County.
Okay.
And so it allowed me to kind of, I got in athletic training kind of by accident, because it gave me the opportunity to stay at school, to get a scholarship, not to have to come back home. My parents, but all those kids, paying for school.
You got to go.
That's right. And so it gave me the opportunity to get involved in athletic training as kind of a necessity to stay there. And so I was one of 2 athletic trainers in that program, but I was, one of the first 2 there. So it was pretty neat. Right. And then that stayed there. And I stayed there 2 years at Neosho County. My older brother, John Craig, played baseball. He finished and graduated. He went on to Bellevue College in Omaha. And so I went back and graduated. And probably one neat thing really about that, my younger brother ended up there. But here probably about 4 years ago, they dedicated a building to my parents.
Oh, wow.
So the baseball complex is actually called the Arceneaux Family Baseball Complex.
Where's that?
Wow.
It's at Neosho County Community Colleges in Chanute, Kansas. And
Kansas.
so
Okay.
that was pretty neat. My parents had did a lot.
Can they even say the last name?
Oh, they can. They definitely can, because it's on the name of a building.
Yeah.
So, but I think that was kind of my first little part into the impact people can make.
Yeah.
And the impact that you can have. And, a lot of it just started from my parents going up there, and just bringing what South Louisiana was and what family was and the impact that they made, I thought was really, really special. Because at the time, my mom was going through, she had terminal cancer at the time. So I thought that was pretty special that she got to see the plans for the building, and she got to go to the dedication before she passed. And I thought that was pretty
awesome.
That was a really, really good thing that we're really proud of. But from Neosho County, I was able to come back to Louisiana, and and at that point I knew I wanted to do athletic training, and I read the book Friday Night Lights, and I knew at that point I wanted to be a high school athletic trainer. And so at the time I had to get a degree in education to be able to teach and to do that. So I came back, I looked for the best option, and that ended up being at Southeastern, which was really neat because I got to work for a Hall of Fame athletic trainer, a guy named Bob Goodwin. And Doc Goodwin's still in the Hammond area, who was at the time the only second athletic trainer there was at Southeastern. Another guy named Grady Morgan. I'm sorry, Doc Morgan don't haunt me, but Doc Morgan was the original athletic trainer and at the time, since the inception of athletic training in 1950, they were the only 2 athletic trainers that they ever had at Southeastern. So that was really neat because Doc had a lot of history. He was a big history guy, and so you got to really learn a lot of the older ways too when you were there. But was neat is at the time Southeastern didn't have football.
That's what I was about to ask you.
That's right. So they didn't have football, and so they brought in all these great graduate assistants, and then allowed us to go out, and they were doing really something innovative at the time, which is now really commonplace, is that they were doing outreach athletic training to the high schools. So they had a program called Paragon, which they had a RV, and they would go around. Now it's the North Oaks system. But so we got to go and work Friday night football. We were attached to a high school. And so those kids would come to Hammond to get treatment. And so I was very fortunate in 1990 when I got to Hammond to be to get immersed into Amy High School. And that was really neat because in 1991 I got to go to the Dome with them, and that was really a neat opportunity to be able to go and to every Friday night we were there. During the week you would see them at school, and so you got to really kind of be a part of that and really to see where that Amy Independence rivalry was like, and then the teams that they beat, to be with them when they they beat John Curtis, to be able to go through that and that whole season, the whole 2 years really, it was really cool to be able. But I worked a ton of sports at Southeastern, and then once I graduated from Southeastern, I actually didn't go right into athletic training. My wife and I had our son while we were in school, and so had to go to work, and so I ended up after student teaching at Live Oak Middle School, which I was living in Watson at the time, and worked at Live Oak Middle School as the football coach there. I did girls softball, I did basketball, coached the ball, just everything you do in middle school.
Yeah,
And then I was helping David Prescott and Carl Dijon at Live Oak High School because they had got there, and so another neat thing was that I got to be a part of that when they broke that 52 game losing streak that they had. And so to be there when they were living in the tent outside, and doing that, and to be part of that. So in the early 90s, and that was really neat. Coach, I got to really kind of know about Santamon my senior year in high school because I met Spencer Clue out at Boy State.
Okay.
It's the first time I ever heard about Santamon. And then in college, as fate would have it, I got to become friends with Kelly Wagasback, which is, Richard and Miss Myrtle's daughter. Yeah. And that was a really neat opportunity. And it's just kind of, you look back at things and where all these little people hit that trail, And so when I got an actual, Coach Morrow had called me through and coming back to Louis Cook, because him and Coach Cook were really good friends. He asked me to come and actually called and asked if I'd student teach here to be able to do it. Well, I didn't want that opportunity then because I knew what it would take and I wasn't prepared for it. And plus, on top of that, my older brother, John Craig, was just got his first coaching job at Rain, and he was an assistant coach. And my younger brother, Chad, was a senior, and he was the quarterback. So I got to go back, and so on Friday nights,
watch him.
So I got to work.
Work the games.
Work.
Right.
So be a part of that.
Then I would go to Rain. I would leave student teaching on Friday, drive to Rain, work the game on Friday night, stay do treatment Saturday, Sunday, and come back. And that was kind of it was pretty cool. And I got to work, and in Rain, I got to work with guys like Clint Conk. Or I played for Clint Conk with Clint. Coach Conk ended up being at Louisiana Tech and was the head coach at Central Arkansas for a long time. Of course, Coach Cook was there. My brother and them won a state championship in baseball with Coach Gray, which Coach Gray was very influential with me. But also, like I said, we still have a great relationship with Coach Louis Cook. And that's really kind of how I got here. It's because then when I came back, and I really kind of, did the coaching thing for a year and a half and just really wasn't, you just kind of know that that's, you like doing it.
It just wasn't.
You enjoy doing it and you could be successful at doing it, but it just wasn't what I was designed to do.
Yeah.
And I really felt where my talents and my gifts that I was, that I had been given, that I needed to do it. So, and so the summer of 1995, I called Coach Morrow, told him, I was looking to see if the opening was there, and it was. They hadn't had an athletic trainer here for about 2 years. Of course, the school has a great history since 1978 that they had 3 athletic trainers. They are really actually 4 before I got here. So you had Henry Stroud. You had
Larry Gainey.
Doc Gainey was
Doc
Gainey. See, Doc Gainey was at Southeastern right before I got there working with Paragon.
He's doing middle school games.
That's
now.
right.
I see him every Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We put him back in the saddle.
Yeah,
and him and Randy Gonzalez, which both were old stalwarts at Southeastern back in the day. And then and of course they had Joe Kiesel. Trainer Joe was here, was the last guy that was here.
Or wasn't Andy Lefebvre too?
And Doc Lefebvre. Doc Lefebvre taught here.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, it's kind of crazy because he called me just the other day out of the blue. But, so all those guys were here. And, but, like I said, this was a place when I got here. I'm kind of glad that everything kind of worked out the way it did, because in 95, when I got here, Coach Morrow, this was something that he wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
And, so when he wanted it and understood that, the value that it had, and that why he had to have it, because he didn't have it for so long.
Right.
And, it was kind of a great opportunity for me, because to come in and then all the resources he was able to push my way, that once he decided that, it was baptism by fire.
Right.
So I came in 10 days before football started.
Oh, wow.
And, I could tell you this, as anal as I am about my coolers and everything matching, nothing matched. I had to find everything. The old training room in the back, which is the war room now, we had 120 degrees.
Yes.
I was much thinner back then because I didn't have a Gator. I had to push. Good thing I didn't have a step counter, because I think I was probably doing about 20,000 steps a day.
Yeah.
But I came here to teach. They hired me to teach special ed, which was an experience. And but once again, like I said, I came in after that first semester. Coach Morrow, he enjoyed the job that I was doing. He was, it was tough. I would tell you, I don't know if my old self would tell my young self to take that job then, but, I didn't see, all I saw was opportunity. And so when Coach Morrow gave me that opportunity, we worked really, really hard. I'd spend the night here on Friday nights because they have to be back at 7:30, and my commute to Watson after a Friday night football game was a long time. There's a lot of things now, I think, and I don't say this with any discontent is that, there's just a lot of things that, it's really nice that folks that have been around for a long time when I first got here really still understand. I got a phone call from CC Richter yesterday, and that's Max Richter's mom, and he was a freshman when I started. But they always talk about those days and what it was like and the difference. And so people sometimes we get used to having what we have, and we forget what it was like before we had it. And I mean, you guys too.
And look, us coming through,
the students helping you either.
Yeah. I mean, whenever we was here, like you said, basically it was athletic department was basically there to tape ankles prior to Friday night football games, ice baths on Saturday, and that was pretty much the extent of it. There wasn't a whole lot other involvement to what you have today.
Absolutely. And I think so as we grew and knew that it evolved into more than, because I can tell you, to be honest with you, Brad, this has grown because of the involvement we have, not with just one sport, with all sports.
Yeah.
And so there's a thing that we talk about in athletic training is everybody deserves quality care. Everybody deserves an athletic trainer. And we try to do that. And as difficult as it is times, that's the goal every day, is to make sure that we're providing the highest quality care we can. So getting back to just starting, and then as we went, there was just a lot of things that had to change. We got new team doctors, and that after about that first year, or actually 2 years, and then that's where Dr. Winder came into play, and that was life changing for us to be involved with Brock at that time. And it started when it was just 3 doctors, and that started because my relationship with Dr. Faraci. That was one of the original founders, and Dr. Faraci and Dr. Winder was this new young gun they had. and actually, truth be told, that he was at EA the year before. And then, so we were able to say he was willing to do both. And as long as he didn't wear blue and gold when we played on Friday nights, we were good. That was the caveat. He still to this day does that. And so, but that kind of started, and then we worked and worked and worked. And, through doing doing special ed, they had looked at the opportunity. Miss Eva Bourgeois has hired me, but then she retired that fall. And then, that's when Miss Peugeot came in, and she had this, school to work was kind of this new thing, and that they were doing that. We call it ABC. They call it, we call it all kind of stuff. We call it Jump Start now. But it was just where kids could get immersed to something that would take them in a direction. And so they saw athletic training as one of those paths.
Oh, that's good.
That's when we started teaching we developed the courses. We took a framework that a friend of mine, Tim Gonda, had at Broadmoor. We created our own framework. We found books. We started the courses, and that started us down this other path, that now to be able to teach these courses, to be able to do that, which, looking back at it now, it's almost 30 years, but that those 25 now, that those courses then, because it became so popular, helped to start the Allied Health Academy. That then started. Then Bessie saw it, and then they picked it up, and then we got to be on the Bessie executive committee to write the state curriculum for it, which then went to dual enrollment. That it went on. Now we're at the point now that we're trying, as a state association, to create a credential that a kid can get an certified athletic training student aid credential in high school. And that's something that's kind of innovative. It's just that's
a good little stepping stone to where if they want to go that path in college, it's like you already got the foundation.
That's right, and that's what it is. It's an identifier, and that's what it goes. It's not something they're going to be able to graduate and go to work with, but it's something that gives them a basic skill knowledge. And so that was that was kind of one path that we've gone from the academic side, which has been really, really neat. And then that created the opportunity with, I think we have such a great culture with sport, with safety in this area.
Right.
But then that we got these just phenomenal students that we've had over the years. And I could tell you that's just been a huge blessing. And the students I've had, and it started with the student program, and that was the other level that came in. And without those students, a lot couldn't happen.
You can see the passion that the students do have.
Yeah, definitely.
You can see it. It's not, they're not just here just because it's another course. You can tell.
Well, I mean, so
read the passion.
There's
on
two sides to it, Chuck, because you got the side that every kid it's an elective, so everybody could teach it. But David Richard, when he was here, there was a lot of talk about not being in the classroom anymore. But he said, "Man, this is a great opportunity for you to recruit students." And I never saw it that way. And then that was the ground that we were able to start really recruiting our students, out of, because you got to kind of test drive them, so to speak. You saw them in the classroom. Yeah. And that's really what's kind of fed this. And, we're up to 30 students now, And that's about what it used to be. We normally had about 10% of what I taught would become student aides. And so now, over the last few years, when we had 3 sets of courses and 3 teachers, that became what it became about what that number was. And as our school has grown, that has happened.
Yeah, I mean, look, just on Friday nights, looking down from the on the sidelines, it looks massive. Like you got a bunch of worker or bees all over down there,
especially
and
getting there early. You see them. You
can
you
see all y'all setting up early, and everything,
and
that's testament to the program itself that that many kids want to be involved in it.
Well, I think it speaks of the kids in this community, and it speaks of, I think the kids I always say is a great cross section of what Santa Monica community and Santa Monica High School is about. When you really look at it, the demographics, but the one thing that's really important about our community is that you have to have a servant's heart. And I think that's what, when people are in need, Santa Monica always steps up.
Yeah.
Always. And it doesn't matter if we're suffering, we're always trying to help other people.
Correct.
And I think that's part of our culture. That's one thing that helps drive what I do. And people see that, and they see that value in that, and y'all mentioned something, and there's a lot of things that I do. It's like an iceberg, right?
Yeah.
You only see the top 10% out of the water. The other 90% is underneath. And it's the same thing with our students. People see them at the games, but they don't see what they do every day.
Yeah.
What they do from, second block, third block, fourth block after school. And it's not just, it's not just Mondays, it's Saturdays. It's, and last year, it was Sundays because we played on Saturdays. And, it's Labor Day. It's the holidays. It's, and it's not just football.
Correct.
I mean, it's all sports.
Yes.
And so, and then it's even in the summertime now. So it's, so we ask a lot of those kids, and, and they deliver. And I think that's one of the things is that I wish, I think a lot of people show appreciation is to really try to understand the totality of what they do and the impact that they have, because these are students that are working hard to take care of their classmates.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And they are working very diligently and very hard to make sure we have the highest quality care, to make sure that we're doing all these things that we need to do to take care of our athletes, to be able to do that. See, when I started, we had probably roughly about 8 sports when I started. You had the major sports, and then, but now we have just
everything that LHSA offers.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then, it's not just 28 sports, it's 42 teams.
Correct.
Right.
And so like today we have volleyball, and, you have, you have a volleyball, it's not just one volleyball game.
You got
it's
freshman,
3.
JV.
That's right. And so it's 3, and it's the out, it's the work before, it's the work after, and to be able to do those things. And so, that in itself is sometimes what people don't see, don't get.
Yeah.
A lot of people will come and say, "Oh man, I want your job. I see you ride around this Gator, or we see you hanging out at the games and getting in this great seat." But it's so much like Friday night. Friday night was a busy night, but those nights we come away with that with a huge satisfaction of that, the work that we had to do. Now, of course, we don't want to have to work that hard, but we came away with a win. But you get to a point in the game where you say, look, everybody we have right now that's in the game's got to stay.
Yeah.
And so so once you get to that point, and and it's also the pride that they take in helping us get kids that are hurt on Friday, that what we do on Saturday, what we come up and do on Sunday. That's right. And that's a lot of people don't know that we do clinic on Sunday and then come back, and then Monday through the week, and to be able to get those kids ready.
Back on the field.
Just think of it like this, is like a NASCAR car, is that, we ask the coaches to build the engine, and make it fast and run well. But when it gets dense and gets knocked around, we're the ones going to knock the dents out. We're kind of, we put this, everybody uses this pit crew thing, but I'm just going to let y'all know that we coined that. I should have copyrighted it way back in the day, because that's what we used to talk about is, I'll never forget Michael McLeod. And I had a guy named Corey Mitchell. There were some male student trainers I had years ago, and they were top notch. And those guys would come in, and that's what they said. We're going to be like a pit crew. When those guys come out, we're going to get them quick. And that was pretty neat. And so we started that years ago, but we didn't copyright it. And then
the student section took it over.
It's changed hands like 3 times now.
Yeah.
Everybody, it's kind of like anything else. It's whoever could take it over and hold on to it.
Right.
And convince everybody else that it was theirs.
That
was theirs.
Yeah.
So just from that part, it's getting here and then starting in 95 and then going through the courses, building a student aid program, which then led us into having more classes to teach, that led us to having additional staff, teaching staff. Of course, we're a little bit down this year. Luke Freyu, which was here, Luke went back to work for Brock, and he's at working at Zachary. Miss Klingman was here.
Yeah.
She was kind of the first associate athletic trainer we had. She went. She left and she went to Parkview to go teach.
She's teaching at Parkview now.
That's right. Yeah. And then, but we still have missed. But one neat thing is that over time in those relationships, and circling back to Dr. Winder and our relationship with Brock, 5 years ago now, that no, it's 4, that Brock started their outreach program with the Brock Foundation. And I can't say enough about the Brock Foundation and what they do for us, what they've always done for us. But to have somebody like Deanna Melanson that runs their outreach program, that actually lives here in Sandoval, that, Sandoval High School, is always a priority to them, like all their other schools. But for what they've done to help develop athletic trainers that they hire, but to have that resource. And that's part of the foundation is made up of Our Lady of the Lake, Brock doctors, and also healthcare partners that we have. And our healthcare partner that's tied to Sandoval High School is Bourgeois Physical Therapy.
Yeah.
And so with Christian Bourgeois and Melissa Bourgeois, they, those are 2 Gators.
Sandoval alums.
That's right. Christian was a senior when I started here. Actually, I always tell that story. He was the first guy I ever treated.
Really?
First day I got here, the first day they met, he got in a little fender bender. So I had to look at him.
Okay.
And then I always tell that story. But, of course, Melissa powerlifted and was a cheerleader. And but it's neat to have those guys. We were fortunate too that over that time, when I got here, Baton Rouge Physical Therapy was here and they were
Gus,
and Paul Melanson. Yeah. Those guys did a lot to help break me the saddle and let me learn. And the first doctors we had, but kind of in a weird roundabout way too. Garrett LeBlanc, which is a PA for Dr. Winder.
I played with him.
That's right. Garrett was a PA for Dr. Ronnie Sylvester, which was our team doctor at the time.
Right.
And so now then he went and Garrett kind of went and then he worked for Dr. Robichaud for a while, and then he came back and now he's working with Dr. Winder. So that was kind of really good.
Yeah.
And so, so we have this great comprehensive sports medicine team, and we have other community partners. We got a guy like Matt Shelley, that Dr. Matt Shelley that works with us. We got people like just community partners like Brent Bateman.
Yeah,
I mean Brent Bateman. We can't do without Brent Bateman. Verons, Supreme Rice. That's if you think about that, you can't have jambalaya without those 2 things.
Right.
Correct.
But you have those folks. Just everybody that participates to be able to help us. The Booster Club.
Right.
Everything that we started out was built through the Booster Club.
Correct.
And it continues to do that.
Yeah.
And but we look at this comprehensive sports medicine team that we have from having orthopedists, and now with Our Lady Lake, Travis Curry, Dr. Travis Curry, Dr. Brian Lindenmeyer, those guys that we have. We have such great access, and not just them, but their MAs and their nurses and their PAs and all these people that we have. And then that, people don't understand is like the Brock After Hours was part of the reason, was a necessity that they started to be able to continue to serve us after hours is when kids were hurt.
Yeah.
That we didn't have to wait.
On a Friday night,
Friday night.
Yeah.
That's right. And they have the free clinic on Friday night after 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock for football.
After 9 o'clock.
But it's still, it's these people. Sometimes we get spoiled because of the amount of access that we have to quality health care.
Yeah.
We got guys like Tavis Piattoli, which is our sports nutritionist that's been with us for years. That's the guy that's, the phone call away that when we have issues or nutritional issues that what we need. And, for years ago, Coach Oliver funded a nutrition program. The talks that we have with the Head Health Network that did all the research at LSU and what they do with the concussion research.
Hang on one second. Go ahead. Right.
So, so a lot of these programs that we had that have been self-funded, Coach, that was one thing that Coach Oliver's done, is that projects he's funded, that's money that football spent. But like when we did a nutrition program years ago, that was huge. It paid huge dividends. It gave us really an insight and a snapshot to what we could do just from food wise. Then being able to look at what we were doing at practice and to partner with Rydell. And be one of only, we're one of only a few schools in the country that people really approach and say, hey, we want to come here. We want to collect data here. we need y'all because y'all are far, especially when it was about the concussion issue. Way
Yeah,
before.
I remember when they had the helmets and all this
Yeah.
stuff that they had to plug in.
That's
and all,
right.
and,
That's
yeah.
right. And we had that. And those are just a lot of programs we have. You know, and so in turn, when you do those things, then you have access to the other stuff. They come to you with the new stuff,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
the beta
So
testing kind of.
That's right. Well, not even just that. It's just they come to you with the new stuff ahead of that. And so it always keeps you the tip of the spear.
Right.
You know, you're always, you know, so when things are coming out, you know, we were doing chocolate milk in the summertime 3 and 4 years before it ever became, you know, the big milk chocolate
right.
program that came out. You know, the snacking at halftime that we have been doing for years.
Yep.
That before it really came in vogue with everybody else. You know, those are all advantages we have gotten because of the relationships we have with other people.
Yeah.
And to be able to look at the data and knowing that. And so, and that in turn, it just continues to create other things. And so that helps a bunch. And then, you know, that's changed a lot. You know, that's changed a lot with the concussion issue is even on our campus, which is great. You know, a lot of times people don't realize is that football of all the sports is probably has the lowest concussion rate of all our other sports.
Right.
Yeah.
We see it much more in, you know, when we deal with our
and volleyball is probably one of the top.
Volleyball, cheer,
basketball,
you know,
elbow in the head.
Well, I mean, you know, so you see those, you know, that's it. But you know, having a consistent path that when a kid does get that, you know, with Dr. Curry, what he does and his protocol and how it aligns with the school, those things are all benefits for our students. You know, Our Lady of the Lake pays for our whole concussion program. It is no cost to us. They pay for our King Devick testing. They do that every year. They renew it every year. You know, and like I said, it's just tremendous.
Yeah,
what we have.
My daughter Chandler went through the protocol,
went
through the whole process, and again was phenomenal.
That's right.
You know, I mean, no cost to us. Again, it was through the school. We went to get her checked out, went through the steps, worked perfect. I mean, it was nice to have.
That's right. But you know, Brad, that's what when we have something like this and it's community based, it should be the highest quality.
Yeah.
Right. You know, it might not have all the glitter and glamour that some people want. And sometimes, but I mean, do we have the things in place? And a lot of it is just, do we have the right people?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a big part of that. So as we've grown
the network grows.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And it's more and more comprehensive.
Right.
And, you know, then it adds to the quality of care that our kids get. And from the assistant athletic trainers we have to our doctors, you know, and the front office staff, you know, we're able to head off a lot of problems for our parents and help them because of what we do. The district does a great job. The district provides us with excess insurance, you know, and so all these things that they do make a big difference. It makes that quality care a much better part.
And the faculty here is backing you 100% the whole time as well.
Absolutely.
So I mean that helps as well when someone, you know, hey, they have your back with what you want to move forward with and what you want to implement and say, hey, look, this is
and your coaching staffs too. You know, I mean,
without a doubt.
You know, I mean, a coach ultimately wants their player back, but they understand that if Scott says it ain't time,
this is what it's going to take.
It's not time.
You know,
and I think that comes from just years of having, you know, like I said, it starts with our physicians. It starts with having a plan. It starts with aligning the way that it should align. It's not anecdotal. It's backed by science. You know, so in turn, those things too kind of helped as we continue to grow, and you know, this issue, you know, and we just kept getting bigger, and I'd like to say better, but that's opened more and more doors. And so some of the doors that I'm really, really proud of that it's opened, not just for me, but for our school. You know, Sandoval High School is one of one, but is the only school that has earned the National Safe Sports School Award 4 times.
Right.
And so, you know, we were in the first 10, and that was pretty cool. And, you know, so what people don't know, there's a project called the Atlas Project that actually started out of Louisiana when we were on the secondary school committee for athletic training, where we mapped every high school and what was their athletic training service. Doc Harper at Dutchtown was on the national committee at the time. He told them what we were doing. They said, man, that's a great idea. All these people with all the money, right? They grab it and say, this is great. So right now, the Atlas Project maps every high school in the United States.
Okay.
And they tell you, and you can go to the map and you can look, and it'll tell you if they have an athletic trainer, how many they have, part-time, full-time, whatever it is, and the contact information.
Okay.
So, you know, so in our state, if we're going to our away team that we've not been, but that, you know, that's a pretty neat project to be a part of.
Yeah.
The National Safe Sports School was actually another project we were looking, we called the Louisiana Blue Ribbon School, and that they picked up the national event, picked that up, and that morphed into the State Sports School Award. So with all those projects and being part of those things, it just continues to open doors. And so I moved out of doing secondary school committee and ran and won for our state presidency back in 2016. That's the same year the flood year was. But through that process, and because we were moving always kind of in the reputation that Seminole High School started to gain as somebody that was school that was very, very forward minded, that had a great care model, that, we got approached in our state, got approached by the NFL, the NATA, and the Corey Stringer Institute, that they had a project called the Tufts Project, Team Up for Sports Safety. And it's where they came into the state and they were going to bring the resources to help move, your state's safety policy. At the time, Louisiana was 47th out of 50.
Oh, wow.
And so through about a 4-year process, and I would tell you, and this is significant because not only did I participate, but, Renee Ponce, that was EA, Deanna Malasaw, that's at Brock, the executive committee at the LATA was there. Ronnie Harper at Dutchtown was part of it. So it's very, very Ascension Parish heavy, right?
Right.
But then also too, we pulled in Dwayne Thomasy and we pulled in, Jay Dykes, which were in the coaching association football coaches. Dwayne Jenkins also came apart, and they brought in the best policy writers from the country and all the guys that do the research and the policies. And so we put everything down on paper. We met with the LHSA, the ADs Association, the School Superintendents Association. We came up, hey, look, this is where we can impact the greatest the greatest good in all the schools.
Right.
And basically, it was really mapping out what we were doing here.
Right.
And what we were doing in our parish. Not many people know that we have an athletic healthcare team in our parish that's made up of our team doctors, all our athletic trainers, and our director of secondary schools, that we meet twice a year and we talk about policy, we talk about safety implementation, the things we do, not just at each high school, but across the district.
Right.
Middle school, high
Middle
school.
schools. I mean,
that's right.
We see the athletic trainers there at the football games. And,
from middle school.
Yeah.
Again,
and so we have that, and that works out really, really well, right? And then, but that process took about 4 years, and so it kind of waited. But then we got the run, and we brought it up to state legislation. We amended a bill, through the help of Clay Schecksnyder, Chris Turner in North Louisiana representative. We were able to pass the serious sports injury law and amended a law that we had and made it better. And then now it's actually the Remy Hidalgo Act. But that law and that legislation is now written to the rules in Bessie that, that moved Louisiana from 47th to 5th nationally.
Oh, wow.
In sports safety policy.
Oh,
and
wow.
basically, it's no cost initiatives about doing emergency action plans, coaching education, following wet bulb globe temperature for practices and changes that we have in there. Cold water immersion, about cool first, transport second. All these things. And, and that these are things that happen that we do every day.
Yeah.
That basically we bottled them up and said, hey, you know what? Let's sell this. If we could do it at Seminole High School and Dutchtown and East Ascension and Donisonville, and we could do it in Ascension Parish, then we want everybody else to do it. And I think that's what that's kind of, to me, is the legacy that Ascension Parish in general and the Seminole High School community and the Sandoval community do. Is that we're not afraid to be leaders, do stuff that what is best for not following anybody else. Is that we're going to carry, like I like to say, we're going to carry our own flag.
Yeah. Well, you also got to do it to where there are schools that don't have the funding for a lot of this stuff, or, the manpower. So in order to do stuff to where you said no out of pocket, no cost kind of stuff for these, it's just simple programs that they can start initiating into their system that they just didn't know about before.
That's right.
Or no one gave them a direction of, hey, this, you should be doing this.
Yeah, your little small towns and all. I mean, there might be some PTs and all that want to, or doctors that's not affiliated with schools that might want to get into it.
Or it's not just even that, though, guys. It's about having the education, because the one people that are going to be there are going to be the coaches. It's going to be the school community. School communities, and here's the thing, that a point I'd love to make to people, is that it's the school and the community's responsibility. It's not the hospitals.
Yeah.
Everybody looks for somebody else to come fund it. But you know what? Know what a cold water tank costs? And most of the time when you can get them donated from a feed store, the 3 that I had for years, I got, from Port Vincent Feed and Seed.
Right.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon, Vince donated them to me because I said, hey, look, at Seminole High School, I need these to do cold water. And I had them.
Right.
You know what? And he donated 3 of them.
Right.
And that was,
it's kind of,
but that's what I'm just trying to tell you.
I get it, because
so a lot of times
with
people
us,
have to make it a priority.
Like with us,
Correct.
people want to help. They don't know how to help. So like that's like our little avenue.
Absolutely.
We able to collect donations and everything because people wanted to help.
That's right.
They can't come give time, but they can give $1 or $2.
That's right.
And now we give them an avenue, and that's kind of like, you're giving an avenue.
That's right. And so that helped create that awareness and that advocacy. And so some things I'm really proud of too because of that. Like this past year, I helped pass House Bill 400, which is the Grayson Tipple Act, which is the young man that died at Live Oak of a heart condition, about heart education. To be involved with the Remy Hidalgo Foundation because Remy's mom Ashley had went to KSI and wanted to pass something, and so in turn, then turn around and then KSI approached us and approached me and says, hey, look, you know what, we want you to be on our medical advisory board. And that's a huge.
Are they the one?
Oh,
are they the ones that do the heart screenings?
That's LPCF.
That's LPCF. Okay.
LPCF, and I'm glad you brought that up, Chuck. That's such a great part. That's another part.
Right.
LPCF came here and then said, hey, look, we need your help. Miss Edwards at the time was principal. She said, hey, she brought me a brochure back. Said, why aren't we doing this? And said, okay, let me find out more about it. I called them. They came in, said, we'll give you 100. I said, well, look, I tell you what, if we could do it at Seminole High School, everybody else will follow because I think we're the biggest school. So the first year LPCF came in, we met no high schools were doing them. Maybe one school, but like maybe 50 kids. They came in the first year and did 300.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, we started our head and heart day and where we did baseline testing for concussions.
Right.
And now, of course, we have a different format now, but to be able to do that. So, there's a ton of wins that we have at Seminole High School. There's a lot of accolades and stuff that we do. But, the point that I try to tell people is that this needs to be a priority. A lot of places go and they talk about it, but we have to do it.
Yeah.
And what does it serve? It serves the kids. It serves and it's a service to the parents. And that's what we have to have in order to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I never wanted to be in a situation that I've been in before, and I go back and I could tell stories on top of stories on top of stories. But, one guy that I'll tell this story, and this is important. And, Jay Brignac, which became a great friend of mine now. And Jay was an athlete. He was a senior. Jay got hurt his senior year. And through the course of a situation, I can't go too much into detail. Anyway, Jay got hurt his senior year. And how maybe the injury was handled at a point in time wasn't the best way with one of our team doctors at the time. And I'll never forget coming back from that football game and his dad, Mr. Floyd, sitting in the door of my office. And, and he wasn't upset. He was hurt. But, his one thing that he told me was that, you know what, how could, you're talking about taping ankles and everything else. How could you let this happen? That you're supposed to be looking out for my boy. And I'm going to tell you what, that resonated with me at 24 years old. That, my job was way more than taping ankles and making sure we had these things to do. And so, I've always was thankful to Mr. Floyd. And, I worked really, really hard because I got to take care of a lot of his grandchildren, all of them that have come through now. And unfortunately, 2 of those others had injuries too that required surgery and recovery. But, that's where I kind of look at that, it's when you're called to serve, and I tell people this all the time, and this is really the truth, is that I get the opportunity to take care of people's most prized possessions.
Yeah,
that's right.
Their
definitely.
Children. Both my sisters have lost children. And 2 of my 3 sisters and 2 of them have children. My 2 oldest sisters, and both have lost children. And I could tell you the impact what it had on them, and just to see that, now, that affects you and understand that how important it is. And, and especially with high school students, and especially when we play athletics. And, let me tell you something, a sprained ankle to a senior that might miss his last game is pretty significant to that kid.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Well, to go, but the part, Chuck, I'm glad you bring that up, because this is the one thing that I really, and I don't want to get in my feelings too much about this, but this is the truth. This is the one part of my job that is very difficult that a lot of people don't ever see. And can I use Kobe as an example?
Definitely.
So Kobe is a great example of this.
Yeah.
You know what? Friday night, he gets hurt in the first quarter. We have to do all these things while the game's going on, get him to the hospital, get him x-rayed, find out what's going on before the end of the game. We know the results of that. But, when the game is over and we win, there's a lot of cheering on the field. But you know what? Very rarely you'll ever see me in that mosh pit.
Right.
That's great, because you know why? Because I got some player and some parent that's waiting for me, because either I have to give them bad news or we have to come up with a plan to try to get them back. And there's many a night that we sit in here that are over the weekends when it's really, really quiet, that we're dealing with the emotion and the recovery. There's a lot of tears. It's tough to deal with. When Tony Rodriguez, when you're going through that situation, and Tennessee pulls her scholarship, and that to refocus, or or Maggie Duplashan, when she gets hurt in the spring before summer, or just all these other situations that you have, and trying to devise a plan. And so another thing that we talk about, but one thing that's really I'm proud of, is that a lot of y'all could see up here, but to get shirts off the back.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate and very blessed to have gotten 41 of them.
Wow.
And so
and it probably could have been more, because once somebody chooses him, you can't. You got to choose somebody else.
Yeah, it's all right. But one of the things too is about how we impact other people.
Yeah.
And my role, and how I see my role, and what the role that we do is that it's impactful. You have to care about what you're doing, because you're taking care of people.
Correct.
My job is care, and it's not coddling, it's care. All right. And, I think the players will tell you, you don't act right, or you don't do right. You're going to find that end of it.
Yeah.
But it's, that's what we do. And we want to always, when I'm going to be finished here, that's the one thing I want people to always look back at or say about me, is that, I cared about the kids. I cared about what I did. I was passionate about that we made changes that not just impacted Seminole High School, that impacted Century Parish, that impacted Louisiana. Now it's impacted stuff nationally. And those were the things that are really, really, that's really proud of. They'll give you a lot of personal awards.
Yeah.
But every personal award I get is a reflection of what goes on at Seminole High School.
Correct.
None of this would have ever been possible without the principals I've had, the athletic directors I've had, the school board members, that I've had, the Booster Club members.
I'm gonna tell you too, though, Scott. I mean, look, if y'all can see behind me, LATA, Louisiana Athletic Trainer Association Hall of Fame 2020. It's also a testament to you. I mean,
definitely.
Because you could have all these things in place, and if you don't have the right person that wants to implement them,
or the care that he puts into,
that's what I'm saying.
Of the drive of.
So when we do appreciate, and if I could give a shirt off the back, dude, I'd give
definitely.
you a shirt off my back. In a
I don't think it would fit. I saw people say, you're going to make a quilt off the shirt off my back. I said, if I took them out and I made a quilt, it would cover the old dome. At least they could have used it to maybe make it, now that we have turf, but you could have
covered the field.
Covered the field of of a baseball.
But going back to your analogy earlier with the iceberg, again, and a lot of what we've discussed so far this evening is I didn't even know that we had that availability of a lot of this stuff, or and the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, as well. Like I said, most people just see, the training room, and the kid gets hurt, they come in, they get treatment, kind of stuff, but they don't see a lot of the behind the doors scene of what it takes to implement all of this. And again, it's not just here at Sanamo that you're impacting; it's national.
Well, I mean, I think it's there's a lot more to this than ice bags and Band-Aids.
Right.
Yes.
And and that's the thing that a lot of times, and I always try to tell people, don't result yourself back to when you were in school. If the care that I'm delivering is the same that I was doing in '95, which I thought at the time was really good, but it's a far shade of what we do it. Just from the nutritional aspect that we do, like during fall camp. But like I said, it's only as good as what our coaches will implement, and our coaches will do, and coaches will follow. It's being able to have courses like Sports Medicine 3 that puts us in the athletic training facility during athletic PE to be able to do, to be able to intern kids that are in school,
right?
To be able to intern kids. One thing too, y'all had mentioned and asked about one neat thing also is the number of kids that have come through our
Correct.
program.
Yeah.
I'm pretty fortunate. I have quite a few students that not all of them go out to be athletic trainers, but we've had several. One thing that, we started becoming a preceptor site for Southeastern and LSU.
Okay.
And so we got, like I saw Hannah was in here earlier. I got Randon right now from Southeastern, but Luke was a college student of mine.
Yep.
Right.
Amanda was a college student of mine. So that's a big part of, where kids get to come and be a part of Seminole High School. But our students that have come through the program, we've got tons of nurses, got 2 PAs now.
Oh, wow.
Got 2 PAs now, got 6 athletic trainers. So that's been pretty cool.
And I guarantee you probably got a lot of first responders.
We got a ton of first responders. We got a
You know?
ton of first responders, and also too, but what I hope is that when kids come through this, that the experience is worthwhile for them.
Yeah.
That when they look back at high school, hey, look, this was worth doing.
Right.
I was excited about doing it. I got the opportunity to take care of players. I got my classmates, and look, I got several that, like last year, that kids are athletes in other sports that
Yep.
come and do this
Yeah.
and work in the fall.
Right.
And I kind of have a thing that I work out with them where they're off doing their season. They'll come back and work in the spring. Excuse me. But that's a really cool thing too.
And that is a good opportunity, because again, if you got kids that play sports or multiple sports, but still are interested in this program, you give them that opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you want them to have that because, once again, they're serving others. Dylan Stahl last year.
I was about to say
Dylan
Dylan
Stahl is a great example. But, I've had several. That, I think about Madison Morgan that I had a few years ago. There was a girl soccer player, Jason Dinkoff, that was here. But Dylan Stahl, just even last year, that's relevant to you guys. But Dylan was all
Reed Brignac.
Reed Brignac.
Reed Brignac is another great example.
He did football during football season, and he
baseball.
He played baseball,
and then did his
student training.
Right. Absolutely. And then we had, that started way back. I had some guys from Katrina, a guy named Jake Bordelon, Jared Bordelon were brothers, and those guys came in, and those were kind of my first athlete, kind of hybrid.
The hybrids.
But I had several girls that started doing it, and that was really kind of a cool thing because they have such a different perspective, and that and they bring a lot to the table. But it's not just them. I got some great students that are just beyond.
Yeah.
They're way smarter than I am. I can tell you this: when you got those that are making 32 on the ACT, I would have to take it 4 times.
Yeah,
to make
and add them all up.
Add them all up. But I love the students I have in my program. I love just what this program does. It's been such a blessing. And look, I'm not going to say that my time is close to being done. But
5 more years.
Next year I hit
27.
Next year I'm at 29 and a half.
Oh wow!
Right now, and then so next year I'll start 30 years next year, and then you make that decision.
Yeah.
Whether you're
going to drop or drop out.
Yeah.
So but look, that's where the one thing, God's always put me where He needed me. I always kind of felt that way.
Well, maybe you can go start your own training program.
I'm not doing that.
Business like your brother, huh?
No. I can't replicate. He does such a great job at what he does, and and actually we steal a little bit from him here and there. But like I said, when you look at it, people like Deanna Melanson that's here with Brock Foundation is a game changer for us. Carrie Winder, Travis, Brian, those guys. Christian that comes once a week that comes and helps us. When he comes, these are true partners. Matt Shelley, anytime I need something I can call him. But you look at your community partners, once again, like I tell you, Brent Bateman is I can never say enough for what him and his family do to help Seminole High School, because there's just so much that goes on. Like during the flood year is a great example.
Right.
We couldn't have practice if it wasn't for Brent Bateman.
Yeah.
We would have never practiced because we had no access to any ice or anything like that. Anybody's keeping up with what happened in Jackson, Mississippi.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Not having
With
water, but like for us in that year not having ice.
You gotta have and a lot of people, oh, I mean, he's the ice man. I mean, that's huge.
That is.
You gotta have the ice.
It's not just, but it's just right now we got these vendors like with Craig St. Pierre and Damon Sheets do at at DeLawns for us. Which great partners they are. You can never say enough about Garrett and Cade. With Verons. I mean, those guys never tell you.
Right.
And but they were integral. Kevin, Mary Bourgeois, those were some of our early beneficiaries with Bevel Tech. Their daughter was in the program, but their investment of time and effort, what they did that helped, and then like I said, the Booster Club for all these years. I mean, this is non-existent without the Booster Club.
Oh yeah.
And so what they've done, but like I said, I'm so thankful for Coach Morrow. When I started, he kind of broke me the saddle and really taught me what it was to be a Gator.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people forget about that, and then working for Coach Swacker all those years, and of course the relationship I have with Coach Oliver and the job that we've been able to do the last 15 years. I really think that's the time that we really was a lot of things that kind of started taking shape during that time, and and so where does it go from here? I think it's never maintained, it's always grow.
Yeah.
Because it's something's going to change, something's going to.
Well, and you also have advancements in technology and
Absolutely,
medicine
100%.
and things like that. That's always going to be changing as well.
Chuck always tries to talk about all the stuff that they used to do way back when they were hooking up the car batteries, over here and doing that. But that's
I mean,
the
you
truth.
see the machines, and it's like, man, we had they put water on the pad, you stick on, it had this little wand, and they burn and shock you.
Or, troll a molder in an ice bath.
That's
right.
So,
you got to do, don't lie. I saw one the other day. The old time we had some of those at Neosho County that had like a prop in it, just for somebody to get sucked up into it. They, but
so things are always changing and advancing.
But what doesn't change is the fact is that every parent wants their kid to be taken care of.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That what doesn't change is that it's the responsibility of the school board, that community, to make sure that it is a priority.
Yes.
And that you got to keep doing it. It's not always about, that's the one thing, like a guy like Jeff Pyron. Jeff was such a great friend of ours, but the work that he did to get the outside warning alert system. Now it's huge for our environmental stuff. But you know what? Ascension Parish did a lot of the things that you had to do infrastructure-wise to make sure we had stuff before they did the glitzy stuff. And I mean, now turf, I don't want to call it glitzy because it's great. It's a great thing to have.
Yeah.
But way before they spent millions on that, we had so many other things in place that people don't even realize what they've done. That makes a huge difference for us.
I know, like one thing, because I go watch practices, y'all got the little orange thing out there, but the
WBGT,
heat monitor or whatever, so once it gets, when you're in fall practice, once it gets a certain level, it's time to take it in. It's too hot.
Well, and that's a great, but we did WBGT. We've been doing it for over 10 years.
Yeah.
Now.
But a lot of people don't know that.
Well, that's right. But
why they not practicing today? I mean, it ain't raining.
Well,
dude, it's 106.
But honestly, Chuck, that's allowed us at times, because of that, to be practicing safely and really having great practices, more so than the old technology that people were using with heat index and feel like temperature and doing that. And I can remember out here we practicing one day, and it was great for us. It was, but because the heat index and some of the things that other people use, they weren't practicing. And I can still remember Coach Oliver taking calls that day and people asking. But we had been doing it for a long time. And that dictates how many breaks we take. That dictates if we're going to pull out the popsicles that day.
That's right.
Or we're going to
watermelon or whatever.
Or we're going to have a Powerade break or what we might have.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, advancements definitely helped. And again, Sanamo's been the leader in a lot of these advancements. We were doing things way ahead of a lot of the other teams or people doing them. And that's just, again, bettering ourselves and making a priority for the kids of safety.
And it's not just in the high school level. You hear kids that go on these college visits.
Yeah.
And they come back and they're like, bruh, our training room is so much better than this D1 school.
Yeah.
And it's like, because they take a priority. I mean, over here, I don't know. I ain't saying they're not taking priority at them places, but it is a testament to this place.
Type of work I do, I go into a lot of industrial facilities. Safety is always number one on their list. And they put programs in place to make it that way, standards in place to make it that way. Things that make you say, hey,
policies,
you go home at the end of the day and see your family. That's the same approach y'all are taking it here.
100%.
You want everybody to go home at the end of the day, maybe beat up or bruised or whatever. But at the end of the day,
They had
you're
the
going to
best
go home.
possible care.
Yeah,
That's right.
you know,
They can
and
get.
and if something does happen, you have the resources and the capability here to address any issue that you have.
Well, we say it like this: educate, prevent, manage.
That's right.
There you go.
You want to be able to educate people about what can happen. We want to be able to prevent it, and then we want to be able to manage it. You know, there, like I said, other scenarios like we have, like Coach Oliver and them invested in years ago. One of the biggest money-saving things that we've had, we put every kid in ankle braces.
Right.
Yeah.
That saved a ton of time
And knee
because
braces.
that's right, a
Yeah.
ton of time, and we got ankle wrist guards. You know,
Yep.
position-specific shoulder pads and helmets and all the stuff that they did. Like that's a great example with football. But you know, that's
Brad
the
and
thing.
I made that comment when we was in school. The quarterback had shoulder pads that was this big, you know.
Those old cantilever
Yeah.
shoulder pads.
You know, everybody had these big old shoulder pads,
And,
you
a,
know.
and a neck brace.
Yeah, and a neck brace, you know. Now it's like everything, like you said, is linemen got lineman pads, running backs got running back pads, quarterback got quarterback pads.
Why is that? Because all that means is that they can perform better, it can prevent injuries.
Correct.
Right.
Specifically to that, and be able to do it. But that only happens when you got a guy that could say, okay, this is what happens. And then when you could extrapolate data and show them that, hey, from an injury standpoint, from
Correct.
national averages to our averages, what does that look like? How do you know when you look at and you track and you look at these things and look at, you know, because we have an EMR, which is electronic medical
Mhm.
record, it's healthy roster that we, but that tracks all our data, it tracks a lot of information. We gain a lot from that, but we learn a lot from that.
Right.
And, you know, and it's amazing. But, you know, you go through this, you know, this process and you go through it and, you know, at the end of the day, it's so vast.
Yeah.
And, you know, and you think, and every time we talk about this, I think about another little road because, you know, when we started the courses, became popular. One thing that grew athletic training in our state, you know, which right now, you know, 70% of the high schools in the state of Louisiana have some type of athletic training
Oh, that's
service.
good. That's
Well,
awesome.
what that grew from when I started, we had 7 teacher athletic trainers.
Oh,
We have
wow.
70% now. So that's 7 out of every 10. And that number's kind of skewed because, you know, there's a lot of schools that don't have some of these little charter schools might only run
Right.
cross country.
Yeah.
Might only have one basketball team.
Right.
So it doesn't really say. But when we look at 5A, you know, and we compare ourselves to the group that we're in, you know, there's only 2 high schools in our state that don't have athletic training service at
Oh,
the
wow.
5A level.
Wow.
And, you know, and so then when we look in our area, in the 6 and here's something that's really cool. The 6 teams that are in our district now, there are 16 athletic trainers amongst those 6 schools.
Oh, wow.
That's good.
So you know what? And all those schools are Brock affiliated schools.
That's awesome.
That's right. And so you know what? So when we meet, that we can almost guarantee that at every one of our district games, we're going to have an orthopedist,
right,
and a a sports medicine physician at those games, and
right.
and that those schools are going to be properly serviced with athletic trainers,
right,
and have the appropriate people. That's really good.
Especially like on a freshman volleyball game.
Yeah.
100%.
You
If
know,
they're away,
that's
if they're
exactly
away,
right.
and that's, and Chuck, you picking up what I'm putting down on that, and and that makes a huge difference,
Right.
But there are some challenges. This year, as a profession, we saw, they're changing the education standards. There's a lot more challenges because of what the job market is. We were very unsuccessful, which is very odd to fill those 2 spots that we have.
Okay.
So we're always going to try to look to make sure we have the best people, but that's a challenge, So what we were doing with 4 people for the last 5 years, now we're trying to do with 2
2 and a student trainer.
Well, not necessarily. That's our college athletic trainers can't cover like we do, and our student staff that we have.
Right.
Yeah.
So their role is different than
y'all.
adults. Yeah. But it's still. But you know what? But that goes back to having a great administration, a great AD that could come in and say, okay, look, here's our issue. Then we're going to tackle it this way. But how can we still provide care?
Yeah.
And so that's the other part, is that people always see us covering stuff, but the care part is the thing to me is always the most important, and be able to do that. But, like I said, I'm really, really fortunate and really blessed because I have such great friends.
Yeah.
It wasn't long ago that I could still remember your brother coming in off of basketball and having shoulder tendonitis,
right,
and having to meet with your dad, and then coming up with a plan what we were going to do with Ben when he had that coming for basketball from that early time in 95 and 96 to where we're at. But now it's really cool because I'm getting my athletes' kids.
Yeah.
And that's,
right.
and to be able to have those. And what's that like? You know, and what does the future have? You know, and the future, you know, you hope that it continues to grow. You know, you hope that people continue to see the value in it. You hope that people continue to appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I'm not going to be here forever. You know, what is it going to be like for the athletic trainers? What's it going to be like for the athletic trainers? You know, that are going to be here.
That's going to come in afterwards. And,
that's right.
Yeah.
Can we continue to support them?
Yeah.
Can we continue to hold them, you know, to the standard that we want?
That we got.
Yeah.
And that's right. And, you know, but all that just is a byproduct. People forget how great this community is at times.
Yeah.
And we take for granted that just what it is that we have, and don't really understand that when you go away from here, it's not the same.
Right.
You know, we talk about colleges, we talk about our other facilities. Look, you know, my daughter Sarah's at LSUE right now. They don't have athletic training service.
Really?
You know, yep. That's it. You know, their athletic trainer left right before the season. You know, her husband was the soccer coach. They haven't been able to replace that. So that's a very that's a very challenging situation.
So what does Scott do on Saturday?
I'm just a dad. That's all I am. I'm just a dad.
Yeah.
And then, but you know, it's to those challenges as the state president right now. You know, people don't realize how bad the situation is right now in college sports. You know, Grambling, you know, Southern lost 6 athletic trainers this past year.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yep, they're up to, you know, it's kind of like, you know, they're up trying to hire people to staff at Southern. You know, Grambling is down. All their staff's gone. They have one guy. You know, if y'all don't remember last year, Alcorn was about not being able to have athletic trainers. Jackson State's got 3 down. You know, you look at like a school like Southeastern, they're understaffed right now. You know, so it's a challenge.
Yeah.
You know, it's a challenge.
Definitely.
It's a challenge.
We need to start funneling some of that NIL money toward the
athletic trainers. But you know what, Chuck? That's such a great thing too. Not to get off the high school topic, but do you know what's the percentage of most athletic budgets are for the care of the athlete out of most Division I budgets?
Probably ain't much.
What percentage do you?
I would say 10%.
10,
5,
1.
Really?
1%. That's 1%. And then, you know, people still turn around and expect somebody else to pay for it.
Yeah.
And they give it to you for free to be able to do that. And I don't want to get on that's going to be a whole
that's a whole nother session.
That's another.
Say that for the legislation.
That's right. That's my legislative talk. Now I'm starting to do that. But listen, guys, I can't tell you, I always appreciate the opportunity. I thank y'all for giving me the opportunity as parents to take care of y'all kids. And then everybody else that's out there. That's the greatest joy of my life. That's my passion. I feel obligated to the parents and the grandparents. You know, I try to go around and tell people how appreciative I see Mr. Leroy Robert the other day, and Chuck, I got Hayden and I got Jackson here now. But you know, I see all those, and then, you know, everybody has a kid or a grandkid that comes to here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if they're cheer or Gatorettes. You know, if they're a Gator, they're a Gator.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
And you know, and
they got an injury, they come and see Scott.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a bad kid here today, just wanted some advice.
There you go.
Know, and you know, so it doesn't, you know, that doesn't matter. And I think a lot of times there's more misinformation than there is information. And, you know, but there's only so much we can do too at times.
Right. Correct.
There's, you know, we can't be, you know, we can't be everywhere as the Gators are at all the time. Right. We try to be, but we try to also have the opportunity that when something does happen, that we have our network of people that can help them to be able to do that. And, you know, and like I said, people need to really understand what Ascension Parish Schools does for their kids, to really understand what Sandoval High School does for their kids, to understand the function of the Booster Club. People like yourselves have created this avenue, you know, just your healthcare partners and your community partners, what they do.
Yeah.
You know, Greg Patterson, I can't, you know,
right.
I can't ever, you know, I would be very remiss not to mention Greg, because I could tell you the sports medicine, my idea about my sports medicine trailer and this traveling training room would have never got off the ground without Greg.
Okay.
You know, and then even now, you know, and not only that, he becomes a friend, but these are people that believe in what we're doing. As long as it's going to the care of the kid.
Yes.
These people have donated a ton of money. And what's neat about like my sell point, right, Brad, is this. It's not because when you give it to me, it goes to everybody.
Correct.
You know, or it's there for everybody. So it's kind of a neat thing. So that's another thing. Hey, Dad bought an athletic pass.
That's right.
Buy an athletic pass.
Because those athletic pass money, that athletic money is earmarked for us. And so it goes to
and going back to the
athletic pass, folks.
Yeah, to the sponsor.
You still got time. Get them before they gone.
Yeah, to the sponsors and the people that help out. It makes it a whole lot easier when they see the results of what they're giving.
Absolutely.
And they see the advancements in what we're doing here and in the technology and everything else that goes along with it. Whereas they're not just throwing money at something and then,
don't know where it's going.
Yeah, you have no idea, and you don't see the impact. And
everybody's gonna, that's like I tell people. I mean, Chuck could attest to this fact. It's just like one of the it's like Dr. Winder years ago. These game ready cold compression units. He came back from a conference and they were new, just came out, and he said, "Man, look, we need these." So I said, "Okay." I went at the time and I kind of brokered for it. Man, they're pretty expensive, And so he said, "You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll buy you the first one." And he bought the first one. And so from the first one, that started us. And then, of course, Game Ready's had these programs that have come up. Now we have 6. We've probably bought and traded in probably about a dozen. But we have 6 of them. What? We have 3 that we use every day on the floor. But to have 3 of them that go home on the weekends or whenever kids need them, or when a kid has a surgery, the parent doesn't have to rent one.
Yeah.
That they have one. The portable stim units we have and all the things that we have. That it's not just to say, hey, we have it. It's to have it to give our parents an opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
And not just to think about that, but like I said, I go back to our healthcare partners. It's the time that they give.
Definitely.
Right.
And their expertise. And that is done willingly. That is not done with anything to say reciprocate.
Yeah.
To be able to do it.
And the thing about a lot of people don't realize our community too, though, is we're still a fairly low socioeconomic community.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
And so you tell a parent you need a STEM unit, this is going to help improve your kid, help him heal quicker, but they got to go spend $300 on. I mean,
yeah,
they don't have it, but you got it where you can take it home. I mean,
well, that's right, and and that goes through funding our supplies.
Right.
I mean, you'd be surprised how many kids can't afford wound care.
Right.
Regular
Band-Aids.
That's right. Yeah. That's the difference. That's the difference. That kid coming back with an infection or
that's
not.
Right. That's right.
And people don't understand. Like our talk about that is like our parish. They come in here and spray for mosquitoes. We don't have mosquitoes. We don't have people getting bit. We don't have people scratching. We don't have people have staph infections.
Yeah.
That's right. Coach Oliver spraying in the locker room.
Yeah, that little Ryobi sprayer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Those things to keep stuff down. And, just like I said, it's just this huge multitude of things that we do. I wish our kids would do some things a little better. Would like for them to eat a little bit better.
Right.
Especially on Friday.
I mean, come on.
They need the calories. They need the calories.
That's right. They need
good
the
calories.
That's right. But that's right. And, it goes through everything is that everything we've implemented, from, hydration protocols, the snack stuff, the district wrote a grant and we're waiting for it. We're hoping to get it here is that, the district wrote a grant to start an after school snack program for our kids, and so that's hopefully we're going to be able to announce that and kick that off here in a few weeks. But that's been about a year-long process, to be able to have stuff for these kids that are here after school to be able to have snacks because, the times, this district does so much that people don't ever give them credit for.
Yeah. I will commend you though. I got to see your fall camp,
Oh yeah.
kind of come stop you. I mean, they weigh in the kids, seeing how much weight loss they have.
Yeah.
During two-a-days and stuff. They got their little salt tablets, the hydrations or whatever it was, the little things or whatever it was.
Yeah.
They just got all the snacks and stuff. You got to have. I mean, kids sweat.
I might start coming here after work.
You need
That's
to.
Right. That's right.
You need to.
But like I said, Chuck, you talk about
have the popsicle.
Yeah.
Hopsicles. But it's just to go through a process and say, hey, look, how can we give kids 1,000 extra calories?
1,000 extra calories, right?
And then 1,000. How can we make sure that they're they not only we know that they drink about a gallon of water practice. We'll go through that. Just the hydration protocols. But like I said, all that stuff. Coach Oliver has to fund that. girls basketball does a tremendous job. Girls volleyball does a tremendous job. And getting more and more coaches onto that. Just like our ankle brace program.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just those are only as good as what the sports will can do.
And it all comes back to your partnerships of people giving you data saying this X, Y, and Z is going to help reduce the cramps or whatever.
I mean, it just recruits. People like just for example, like the national average on or the national injury data will tell you. 18% of all ankle injury are all injuries are ankle injuries, ankle sprains. That's one reason when we went to ankle
brace.
We brought that down to about, it's probably maybe less than 8%.
Okay.
Across the board. As football, it's a lot lower.
Yeah.
Now we still have them, but they're not as significant.
Right.
We have that. But then you go back and people be surprised when we tell them that like hand and wrist injuries are way more significant than we'll have than knee injuries. But I can't tell you how many times those knee braces have stopped a kid from having a significant knee injury.
Right. Yeah.
Right. How much, but but like I said, we tell our kids, it goes back, especially like in football, wearing all their safety equipment, wearing it properly, doing that. You think about Cincinnati, they talk about all these helmets falling. Very rarely do you see that. Everybody kind of freaked out because we never really have kind of a cramp issue in football, but we have to go back. And then what we did is we come back and debrief. Why did this happen? Let's look at each kid. Why did this happen? When did it happen? What were some of the factors? So what are the factors we can change for that kid? Because it was an overall issue. It happened with more people.
Yeah.
A lot of kids are what? Not eating.
Not eating. That's 100%.
They have a football game and they won't eat lunch.
Yeah.
Probably won't eat nothing for breakfast or something. And then they get whatever the little thing is.
That's right.
And they burn that off first quarter.
That's right. And so then, but like I said, it's just, then it's to figure that out. That's what I will tell you. That was what's really neat with Coach Oliver. Coach Morrow, Coach Swacker, and Coach Oliver as athletic directors all have distinctive strengths that they had. It was really, really cool. Coach Morrow kind of broke me the saddle. Coach Swacker really kind of helped me really kind of shape. And then, all the shape that we had, then Coach Oliver came in and, he really kind of gave me kind of, I wouldn't say free will, but he gave me the opportunity because of his experience in college. And what it was, because Coach Morrow knew what he wanted. Coach Swacker, like I said, he knew that it could work. We just had to figure a way how to make it work.
Right.
And then, like I said, then Coach Oliver, and it's not just for, we always get hung up on football.
Yeah.
But you know what? The stuff that we do and the stuff that we kind of learned and we do in baseball and softball and recovery, that's,
right.
We publish stuff about that, which has been significant. If you talk to our coaches, I mean, it's always kind of new stuff, but from the nutrition aspect, from the hydration aspect, it's cool because companies that come out with cool stuff, they come to Santa Mall first.
Yeah.
And they say, these cool towels that they used,
right.
These companies come in and say, hey, look, what do y'all think about this product? And can you use this product? And, and so that gives us a distinctive advantage.
And that speaks bounds of the program we have here.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. And that's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah,
Brad,
got to be.
I tell people I'm a shameless self-promoter. I am. But you know what? Like I said, if you don't care, if you don't carry your flag about what's great about Santa Mall High School, then nobody else does. Then everybody else is going to make their own determination. But when I'm going to turn around, the one thing that I'm really, it's cool is when you turn around, you see what Renee Ponce does at EA and how great that program has become and is. And you see what Lanny and Piper and Josh and them are doing at, and now they have Tyler. They have 4 athletic trainers at Dutchtown, and Doc Harper's there. And I could never have done any of this, or none of this would ever happen without partnership. This wasn't a Scott Arceneaux by himself, but but like I said, there's just so many people that have had a hand in this. It's really it's hard not to feel just overwhelmed and thankful and appreciative because as you kind of you're looking at the sunset starting to go down, right?
Yeah.
And you're riding towards it.
Yeah.
But when you look back, that you hope that, man, and I'll leave this and
leave
just
it in
that
better shape than when you got it.
Absolutely, 100%. And that did you deliver on the promises that you made to parents?
Yeah.
That that I'm going to take care of your kid. I'm going to get them home every day. And that when kids got hurt, I always talk about my injury promise I make to kids, and this is the truth. And that that we have that moment, we sit down and we have our moment that the injury happened. We can't go back and fix it. But all we can do is move forward. And I promise them, that if they're willing to work as hard as they can, it doesn't matter the time of the day or when it is. And I think that's one reason why I have the relationships I have with our players. When you get a phone call from a Briggs Bourgeois that he kicked a 53-yard field goal, or in the offseason he's here, or to hear from an Adelaide Gaffney that she scored 2 goals when she tore her ACL going into senior year, or the relationship I have with your brother, the relationship I have with Melissa Gary and Jason Gary, all these athletes, because those were all those, and Tony Rodriguez, and all these athletes that I've had just this blessing to be a part of their lives. But that all started because we had to get in the training room together.
Yep.
We had to work hard to get them back. and because all those had something that was ahead of them that everybody else was telling them that injury is going to keep you out.
Right.
I'll never forget Melissa Gary and ours little mantra, because there was a guy that was that's actually for orthopedist was telling her, you'll never get back to that level she's done. He's a big soccer guru in the area, and like the guy, but I told her, well, he's full of what. So we're gonna do this. Don't worry about that. I'm not gonna tell you what we can't do. We're gonna tell you what you can do.
Yeah.
When she got to go to Texas A&M and had such a great career there,
right,
that's something pretty proud. One of my biggest moments is with your brother. It happened, after he got, he was long past San Amant High School.
Yeah.
But he came in and, and just everybody had given up and said, look, your career's over, just ride it out. And, he went on to pitch 3 more years after that.
Yep.
And that's, but that's right. And, and that came from, hey, look, I'm still pretty proud that he wore all the stuff I gave him when he pitched to get the A's part. But you know what? But Ben's been that's another thing. Ben's been a great beneficiary from that. So,
all right, folks.
Yeah,
all right.
We look like we're getting a full room in there, so it's time to go to work now.
Yeah,
that's right.
So again, definitely appreciate
appreciate your
time.
Scott. Letting everybody know about the San Amant High School athletic department now, and folks, if your kid's a part of it, if your kid's not a part of it, trust me, if your kid has to be a part of it, you got to utilize his services. He or she's in great hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. We appreciate you, Coach. It's a great day to be a Gator.
Go Gators.
Go Gators.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.